revolution in software going on now on college and university campuses, and it has to do with providing two types of breakthrough software. One is called simulated learning environments. It's where you can't give a student in physics a linear accelerator. You can't give a student in biology a $5 million recombinant DNA laboratory, but you can simulate those things. You can simulate them on a very powerful computer. And it is not possible for students to afford these things. It is not possible for most faculty members to afford these things. So if we can take what we do best, which is to find really great technology and pull it down to a price point that's affordable to people, if we can do the same thing for this type of computer, which is maybe 10 times as powerful as a personal computer, that we did for personal computers, then I think we can make a real difference in the way the learning experience happens in the next.
To the research that you've conducted over your career, what do you think might be a good sort of take-home message as far as improving people's everyday thinking?
Well, especially if the everyday thinking has to do with performing in the future. Okay? Whether that be performing on an exam, performing in the workplace, just doing your hobbies better. Okay? The best way to think about, will I be able to do something well in the future, is to simulate it in the present. Okay? So the more people can rely on simulations, which sometimes can be effortful, right? If I'm going to wonder, how well will I do in this context in the future, the only way to really know is to try it out now. And then if you basically stumble, or you mess up, or you don't understand, you know, oh, geez, this is going to be problematic. So sometimes here, at least in thinking about thinking, is what I'm talking about in this context, really can be effortful in its own way. So to evaluate how well you're basically picking something up, the best way you could do it is simulate it. The strange thing is, in any other context besides learning and education, students and people of all sorts simulate their goal before they get there. So if you're like a young child and you have a dance recital, right? The way you're going to figure out whether, am I ready to go here? Is this something I can do? It's basically simulated. You're going to do your dance routine many, many times until you feel you have it right. You take that same student and you put him into say a mathematics class. For some reason, those lessons learned in dance don't translate. Okay? So we can think a lot better about how we can perform in the future by simulating it in the present. Okay? Without a good simulation, we're really going to make a lot of mistakes about our own abilities and how we'll perform in the future. So,
interesting.
Becoming sophisticated as a learner requires a lot. It requires overcoming your intuitions. It requires learning how to manage the conditions of your own learning. And really, this is a pretty important matter in the current world. Things are complex. Things are changing. Across your lifetime, you can anticipate having different job settings. More and more of your learning is going to be in your own hands. How you manage it is going to be crucial for your future. It's like learning to learn is the ultimate survival tool, so to speak. Is traditionally, there have been two sources for learning. One's your family context, the other is the classroom context. But now technology can change all of that. It's a third source. Sophisticated things can be brought to people who are in impoverished environments more and more. But it opens up the potential to level the playing field some. That if we can get technology at its best in the hands of students who have been disadvantaged one way or another, it becomes a resource that can let them kind of lift themselves up. And that's a very optimistic view, but I think there's a great deal of truth in that. And actually, in some respects, from the standpoint of a researcher like me, a cognitive psychologist interested in applying basic research to enhance education, it's a more promising domain.